Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Over Easy. My name is Manny, in case you're new here, or welcome back. I am going to address first things first if you're watching the video form. I know I look terrible. I didn't just wake up, but I have been grinding and editing all morning, so I am looking like this. This is what I look like when I edit. So this is kind of like a real form of me, you know? Also because this is like the only time this weekend I can film my podcast. So you guys have no choice but to look at me like this. So maybe you should listen to the audio form this week. I don't know, whatever you want. But I will tell you why I have been so busy. But first, as always, we will go into a rosebud and thorn. My rose is that yesterday my boyfriend met some of my best friends. I have a friend group. It's called CRAM. It's an acronym of all our names. It's Cheris, Rachel, Angela, and Manny, which is me. And yesterday we planned to go get brunch. And I brought my boyfriend because after brunch, since we were in Vancouver, we want to go to Whole Foods. Just like logistically, it worked out that way. But it was actually really interesting. It ended up being a very deep conversation with all of my friends, for sure. Sometimes very different from our typical hangouts because my boyfriend was there. So I thought it was definitely a very tiring conversation and a very tiring event in that, like, you know, you really have to think about what you want to say and stuff. We were talking about really deep stuff, like stuff we learned about in our last relationships and stuff, and just what we're doing in life and all that. So it was very interesting. But yeah, overall it went really well. My boyfriend really likes my friends and just think they are so interesting, which obviously they are. Everyone is super interesting in their own way. So really happy with how that turned out. I was kind of nervous. I don't know. With a lot of things, I get nervous with how people will react. For example, when I host something, I get so nervous about people enjoying themselves and making sure that everyone has a good time, which realistically, that's not possible. But I always worry about that. And same with like if I'm trying to introduce someone, I'm really nervous about if they will like each other. I feel a lot of pressure with that. So definitely felt a lot of pressure with my boyfriend liking my friends and vice versa. But I think it went really well. It was definitely a very interesting first meet, but that's how it is sometimes. I think I will share what I talked about, but after my rosebud and thorn. My bud is that I am heading off to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. As of the day I'm filming this podcast, I'm heading out tomorrow night. Very excited, kind of nervous for sure. Just like, I don't have the best track record with flights. Thankfully, this one's not too long, but it's been a while since I've traveled, obviously, since COVID and everything. It's been a while since I've been on a plane. This will be my first plane ride since January of 2020. So that's actually crazy. It's been like 2.5 years almost. But I'm super nervous, but also so excited. Like, I know I will have such a fun time. And it's like kind of a solo trip, but I also have a friend in Washington, D.C. So it's like I have support if I need it, but I also want to be independent. I'm just really excited for that. Still planning out the details of my itinerary. I pretty much planned it all out, but I have to work and stuff like that. So just got to figure things out. Also, I have so much to edit. It's not even a joke. So I need to find time to edit my videos, which is kind of annoying, but I'm very happy to edit, obviously. Just, I wish I planned a little better because I have so many videos to edit as of right now. So I guess that'll be my thorn. I have been so incredibly busy the weekend I am here right now before I leave for Washington because I just got back from Vancouver Island on Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is pretty much go, go, go. I have not had time to rest. I just have time to do everything that I need to do. And that is pretty much it, which means I have so much to edit. I have my entire travel video I need to edit for Vancouver Island and just a bunch of other videos that I've planned to go up while I'm in Washington, and then also editing the Washington vlogs, all this stuff. So I have a ton to do and just like a ton to figure out as well with my trip. Tomorrow, Sunday, the day I leave, is going to be really busy because I'm pretty much dancing the whole day, but I also have to get my COVID test, and then once I come back from dance at night, it's like pretty much go, 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 shower, eat dinner until I head to the airport. And another thing is that on TikTok, I've been seeing that YVR is like totally jammed. And sometimes it's totally empty, but sometimes it's also totally jammed. So I'm kind of nervous about whether or not it will be very full when I leave. I don't think so, because mine is an overnight flight. Like, I would assume it's mostly in the morning that it's really busy. So hoping that it's okay. I'm still planning to get to the airport really early, even for a domestic flight. My first flight is domestic because I'm taking connecting flights. So I'm arriving like 2.5 hours early for a domestic flight, which usually you only have to arrive like an hour early. So we'll see how it goes. I will definitely update you as when I record my podcast recapping my Washington trip. But that is my rosebud and thorn. So I'm a little bit stressed out this weekend and just kind of like on edge. I am just really busy, and that is all you really need to know. Just know that I'm super busy, and I will be until I get back from Washington, and then I can finally relax. I knew these 2 weeks was going to be super busy, but it's just like being in it, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But I'm having a good time. I mean, like, I had a really good day yesterday. It's just a lot busier than I would like. You know, I'm a type of person that, like to do something and then relax for the rest of the day, but haven't really had the chance to do that. Anyways, as I've been alluding to, I've been super busy, and I haven't filmed a podcast in actually almost 2 weeks. Just the way that I time things. I still have managed to upload, which I'm very proud of myself. But I'll talk about what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, because I think the last time I filmed a podcast was the day of my last final exam. So I'll recap what I've been doing for the last 1.5 weeks / 2 weeks, because it's been honestly super busy. So on Tuesday, I took my last final exam. This is like the last week of April at this point. On Wednesday, since it was the first day of summer, I took myself out to go thrifting and just like hang out by myself. It was actually a lot of fun. And then I had work in the afternoon, I believe. Let me refer back to my calendar so that I can give you the accurate details. So I, on Wednesday, headed to Jean Cafe, F as in Frank. I have a whole vlog about that if you would like. It's kind of like a tradition that I make a vlog about my first day of summer. So that was super fun. Bought some cool things, and I really enjoyed just exploring a new area by myself because I'd never been there before, and I felt like it was very empowering to be able to explore to these new places by myself. Even though it's just Vancouver still, it was still really fun. On Thursday and Friday, I cleaned my room, and I know it sounds like it shouldn't take that much time, but I was like deep cleaning. I was going through all of the clothes in my closet. I was going through all of my junk drawers. I was doing everything. I actually didn't even end up finishing everything that I wanted to do. I still want to clean my desk because I know these 2 drawers here in my desk are super full of random stuff. And I also didn't go through my bathroom, which has a lot of makeup products and all that kind of stuff that I wanted to go through. But I went through my closet, I have drawers underneath my bed that have a ton of stuff just trashed / donated / got rid of everything. And currently, because I haven't had time, everything is still sitting outside my room, which has been very stressful, but I'm going to deal with it when I come back from Washington because I just simply don't have the time. So Thursday and Friday morning, that's what I did. And then on Friday in the afternoon, I hung out with my boyfriend. I'm trying to think about what we did. We went to a class together, a fitness class. I brought him to my gym, and I have like these guest passes that I can use. So I brought him to one of the fitness classes, and it was honestly super fun, very challenging. It was like a kettlebells class. So it was like strength training with kettlebells. It was super fun, and it was nice to do something new with my boyfriend, even because, we've been dating for almost 2 years, and because of COVID, we've done a lot of the similar things, eat, take out, all this kind of stuff. But being able to do something new with each other was super fun. On Saturday after, it was just simply a busy day. Editing, had to work, had to pack because I didn't really have time. And then I had extra dance rehearsal at night. So just super busy day. And then the Sunday after, I had a dress rehearsal with my dance studio because our end of year show is coming up. So obviously dress rehearsal. It was very chaotic because I was managing all the little ones that I teach. So lots of people to deal with. Then on Monday morning, I pretty much left We woke up at 4:30 in the morning and left to go to Victoria on the island. And that was a whole trip. I'm going to recap that trip in detail in the later part of this episode. That's what this episode is about. So I'll talk about it in a sec. I also have a travel vlog coming out about it. It should be out by the time this episode is out as well. So it was super fun. I'll talk more about it in a sec. When I came back, we came back on Wednesday night. On Thursday, I was really trying to get back into my routine, so I headed to a fitness class in the morning. Then when I came back, I just did all my unpacking, laundry, washing my face, seeing my boyfriend, and planning like my upcoming packing list because I'm about to leave again, and just like a lot of stuff. I also had work in the afternoon, so I was pretty much go all on Thursday. And then on Friday, which was yesterday, we had lunch with my friends, and then I hung out with my boyfriend, and we were just doing all this stuff. And then today is Saturday, editing, filming this podcast, working in a second later on, and we're packing. And then tonight it's Mother's Day dinner because I'm leaving tomorrow night, so we're not actually celebrating on Mother's Day. We're going to the Revolving Restaurant in Vancouver, which I have not gone to in a very long time. I don't even actually know if I've been there. I've been to the one in like Toronto and probably like other ones, but I don't know if I don't know if I've been to the one in Vancouver, like, to be honest. I've heard the food is not that good, so we'll see. It's about the experience, right? It's about the spinning thing, so we'll see. My grandma really wanted to go. I thought it was actually really adorable. She saw it in the newspaper and was like, oh my god, I want to go. And then we were like, okay, let's just go for Mother's Day then. So we're going to that tonight, which I'm pretty excited about. So it's been very busy, as you can tell. I've been occupied with a lot of things, and I am typically a person that needs to rest a lot, so it's been very different for me. I am also just kind of worried because I don't think I will sleep well on the plane because my flight is an overnight flight. So I'm just a lot of things to think about, guys. I don't know. So that's kind of what's been going on in my life. Hope you are doing well. I feel like I'm in a very like somber mood. Like sometimes in my episodes I'm so chatty and just like talking off the walls, but because it is 9:47 in the morning and I don't typically record in the morning, I am very calm right now. Before we actually talk about my trip, I want to talk about some things that I learned from my conversation with my friends yesterday, because my boyfriend and I talked a lot about it afterwards, and we realized a lot of things. So first of all, I want to talk about what I shared with the group. We were talking about what we learned in our last relationships, because some people view it as every relationship will teach you something new about yourself, about how to be a better partner. Every relationship is just a lesson. Or some people view it, one of my friends said, dating is kind of just like a resume, and every person that you date or go out with is kind of like a new thing on your resume until you hand your resume to the last person, which is also an interesting way to think about it. Kind of weird. But I will talk about what I learned about in my last relationship, because it did take me a while to think about it, and I have been reflecting on this a lot, actually. So I think I'm ready to share. I think the biggest thing that I learned from my last relationship was to value myself and my self-worth apart from the relationship. So my first relationship was my first relationship, obviously, and I didn't really have a blueprint of what a relationship should look like because, well, my parents don't have the best track record. If you don't know, my parents are divorced, and it was just like always a messy situation at home. So I never really had like that couple to look up to. So I didn't really know what to do. I kind of modeled after my parents, but obviously my parents' relationship was not the healthiest. And I think one thing that I really, really did was I didn't set boundaries in that relationship in terms of myself and how much I was giving up. At that time, I was also a lot more people pleasing and just wanted to sacrifice myself to make others happy all the time. That was like how I found my happiness, which is not a good thing to do. Just if you're doing that, don't. It's really bad, but it's also really hard to grow out of. But I was always, one thing that I realized in the relationship where I started to realize where it went wrong was like, this person is not doing the same to me. I felt like I was constantly having to change, having to think about myself and make myself better when I didn't feel like my partner at the time was doing the same for me. I was like, I don't think this is how it's supposed to go. It should be like kind of 50-50 at least. I don't think, I mean, I also had a tendency, and I still do, to gaslight myself, which is not good. I know it's not good. It's kind of one of the things I don't like about myself. And think that I'm always the one in the wrong, even though, like, let's say, for example, this is stuff that happened in the past. I brought up something that maybe I didn't particularly like about that person, and I was like, it would make me feel better if you did this instead. But then somehow always ended up with me apologizing and me having to admit that I'm wrong, partly because my partner at the time was, well, obviously this was both our first relationship, so we didn't really know what to do. But for me, it was like I always ended up gaslighting myself and telling myself that, oh yeah, I am in the wrong, I should apologize, which is not good. So definitely learned my worth in terms of that, like asserting for what I want. And in lighter ways, my previous partner was not very supportive of me and my just like dreams. I had, at that time, I didn't start my YouTube channel yet, and I was kind of like toying with it. I'd always been interested in YouTube. I was editing fun little videos for my school projects and whatever here and there, and I was like, oh, like I really do enjoy making these videos. I thought film class was always the most fun, and I always wanted to make a YouTube channel, but at the time I was very nervous. I was like, oh, people are going to make fun of me. I didn't know what to do, and what I was really looking for was just support from the people I cared about. Like all my friends supported me, of course, but if I didn't get approval from the person I supposedly cared about the most, which was my partner at the time, then it didn't really matter to me. I just wanted approval, outside validation, which I don't really need nowadays. But he didn't provide that. He didn't think my goals and ambitions were real and called them stupid. And I kind of like, I took that, instead of, oh, maybe I should find someone else, I decided to change my goals and just give up YouTube and not do it. And I was like, what the heck? Why would I do that? But yeah, so one of the biggest things that I learned from my last relationship is just valuing myself and realizing my self-worth, because if you don't have that, no relationship is going to work. Even if it's the perfect person, your soulmate, it's not going to work out if you don't have that sense of individuality and self-worth. So just some food for thought for you. Another thing, I guess I don't really want to put my ex on blast, because I don't know, that feels kind of bad. But he would always bring up the fact that like I wasn't really enough, and not explicitly like that, but more so he told me once that he had a list of ideal qualifications of his ideal partner, which I think we all do to some extent. We're like, we need our partner to be kind, we need our partner to be loyal, all these kinds of things. But the list that he had was a little more superficial, and it was kind of like, I would prefer if my partner was Asian. Some people just prefer that, like a same race, because it's easier to connect with people. And it was just like the fact that there were some qualifications that I didn't meet, and they were things that I would never be able to change about myself. So it's like the fact that that I will never be enough was like a very hard hitting thing to always carry. So just know your worth, ladies, because men are trash. Just letting you know. Anyways, so that's kind of what I learned from my last relationship. We also talked a lot about just what we're doing in life and stuff. So it was a good conversation yesterday. Definitely very exhausting. These conversations take a lot of effort, but if you can find people that you can talk about these things with, like, I think it is so valuable to talk about, because just having your own perspective is not really enough, I think, because first of all, if you're assuming things about what other people are thinking or doing, you'll never be able to fully understand, because they are other people and you are you. But it's good to have other people's perspectives at times. But yeah, anyways, that was what I learned in my last relationship. And we shall now talk about my Vancouver Island trip, because it was super fun. So my friend Angela and I planned this trip a while ago, like before finals started. So maybe in March. And she was kind of bringing up the fact that she just wanted like a nice detox, relaxing trip. And I was like, of course, like I love going camping. I love doing outdoorsy things. So why not? So she found this Airbnb. It's in Jordan River. It's called Fern Gully, in case you're interested. And basically, how this Airbnb worked was the Airbnb hosts, they owned an entire property and they had 4 cabins on this property. And each cabin was like one separate Airbnb. So we rented one of the Airbnbs. It was super nice, the cabin. Actually, should I even be starting with this part of the trip? Should I talk about when we went to Victoria? That part's not really as relevant. We went to Victoria when we got off the ferry and just had brunch, and it was very fun. You can check out my travel vlog if you want to watch that part. But the Airbnb was super nice. There was like 2 floors, but the second floor was only a loft and there was a bed on the top. Actually, it gave me a lot of anxiety, so I didn't even sleep on that bed. I slept on the futon in the main floor. But on the main floor, there was like a living area, there was a little fireplace, and there was like a tiny kitchen with all the essentials. So it was enough to get by for those 3 days, and it was super, super relaxing there. Let me think about what I want to talk about. So on the first day, we arrived to the Airbnb by the afternoon, and it was actually getting to be quite sunny on the first day. It was pretty overcast in the morning when we were heading. Actually, it was like pouring rain on the first day when we were heading to Victoria. I remember we were walking around Victoria in the morning after we ate brunch, and it was like pouring rain out. But by the afternoon, it got pretty sunny, and there was this little trail along the back of the Airbnb property that brought you to a beach. It was actually so nice. So it was like a 10 to 15 minute walk, and it was from the Airbnb parking lot, and it just headed to a beach, and it was so beautiful. There was barely anyone there because obviously only the people that have this Airbnb access can access this trail. So it was super nice. There was like a swing, and it was just really nice. On the first day, we kind of explored, and I also did a lot of journaling and reading that day because we were really tired from waking up at 4:30 in the morning. So we took a nap in the afternoon when we got to the Airbnb, and then we went on our little walk to the beach, and it was just so super fun. On the second day of our trip, it was actually very interesting. We didn't do anything. We only went to this nearby cafe. So the nearest cafe to us was like a 5-minute drive along the highway. That was like the only place you could get Wi-Fi. Otherwise, at the cabin and stuff, there was no service and no Wi-Fi. So we obviously used the Wi-Fi to just check up on things. I had a couple messages and stuff to reply back to, but we just got breakfast at Cold Shoulder Cafe, which is in Jordan River, if you're ever in that area. It's actually super delicious and very, very yummy. I got a mocha and a breakfast sandwich the first day, I believe. So good. Like all the ingredients are like actually fresh. It's not like frozen food. Very yummy. And then when we finished, like we just grabbed our breakfast. It was like a grab and go kind of situation. We just went back to the cabin and we just relaxed the whole day, which is very hard for me. I am really bad at not doing things. I think it's just that sense of like toxic productivity in my mind. Like even if I'm gonna relax that day, I have to work out or do something productive of the sort. It's like I rarely have days that I just lie in bed, which is kind of unhealthy, but that's kind of what we did. But I did still end up working. Once we came back, I edited all throughout the morning because I had my cleaning video to edit. I actually really liked how that video turned out. I really enjoyed making content that week because I didn't have to check my YouTube studio and I didn't have to check my likes and stuff. It's not that I feel like I have to. I feel like it's just like something that's always in the back of my mind because I have access to it. But because I had no service and no internet there, I literally was just editing and vlogging like for the sake of it. And it was so much fun. I felt like I really just had fun with my vlogging and the types of shots that I was getting and where I was setting up my camera. And it was just like very enjoyable. So I'm really going to try to not check my YouTube studio and just all that kind of stuff because it really gets in my head. And I feel like I've talked about this many episodes already, so I'll just keep it at that. It was really nice to fully detox and just be away from the internet and not have to deal with what's going on. because even if I don't check my phone, like right now I'm not checking my phone, a part of me in the back of my mind is still thinking like, what is going on TikTok today? What is going on Instagram today? It's just like always thinking about that. But if you literally just cut off access, like you don't get a choice. So I feel like I was so into my editing because it was just like all I could do. So I edited for like 3 hours that day, I think. And I just couldn't stop. It was so much fun. We also played some Scrabble because there was a Scrabble board at our Airbnb, and that took up like an hour or two, I think, honestly, because we were just, I'm so bad at Scrabble. I'm really bad at vocabulary word games because my vocabulary is terrible, but it was a very nice challenge, that's for sure. And then that's honestly like what we did for the second day. We also ended up having dinner a little bit early because we were both hungry, and then we just ended up talking for a lot of the evening. And we talked a lot. We talked a lot about interesting things for sure. I can kind of share what we talked about. I think one thing, I'll only share my perspective, obviously, because it's not my stuff to share. I can only talk about myself. But one thing that we talked about was like, what is your favorite and least favorite part of yourself currently? Because that was something that I was thinking about throughout the trip. I was like, just, when your mind has nothing to do, because you can't check your phone and there's not really much there, there's just the forest, your mind just starts wandering. And I really, really like that because I feel like I don't let myself do that enough when I'm in the city. So it's really nice to be bored for once. I know boredom is sometimes like a negative feeling, but honestly, when you're bored, a lot of good things stem from it. I think I had so many good thoughts on that trip just because I had nothing else to do. And I spent a lot of time sitting on the little bench outside our Airbnb and just drinking hot water and just thinking and journaling, which was so nice. But currently my favorite thing about myself, this is what I answered. My favorite thing about myself right now is I'm a little bit headstrong right now because, I've never really had this much freedom in my life in terms of graduating school. I'm no longer tied to school. I don't really have a job yet. I'm very free right now. And so when I want to do something, I will just do it. And I struggled a lot with that when I was little or just younger. Because, for example, when I was in first year and stuff, I had a lot of trouble with doing things by myself and not thinking I would look weird and stuff. But nowadays it's like, if I want to go to Vancouver Island for a detox trip with my friend, I will go. If I want to go thrifting by myself and just hang out by myself, I will go. I'm going to Washington, D.C. next week. I'm just going to go. And it doesn't even have to be as big as traveling to a different place. It can just be like, I want to rest today. I'm going to do it. I want to work out today. I'm going to do it. Because I think a lot of people struggle with taking that step to actually doing something. I thought a lot about, starting a YouTube channel or hanging out by myself or doing whatever. And to actually make that step to do it is a big thing. And you should applaud yourself for that if you're struggling with that and you're able to do something. To be able to go and eat lunch by yourself for the first time, such a big feat. Don't downplay it. It's a big feat. And that's one thing that I'm really good at right now and I'm just really enjoying. So that's my favorite thing about myself right now. And then obviously I had to share what I don't like about myself, which has to do with my strength. Obviously, the fact that I'm impulsive is not always the best thing. And I've always kind of been an impulsive person, actually. I'm very organized, but I'm also very impulsive. It's kind of weird. But I think the one thing that I don't like about myself is that my impulsivity can obviously have a lot of effects on others, particularly with my boyfriend. That's something I'm always trying to work on because sometimes when I get really excited, I don't really think through the consequences of my actions, which is not good, obviously. So that's definitely something I'm still working on and trying to work on every single day. But as of right now, that's kind of like the thing that I don't really like about myself is that. And I know that if I, when I do something or try to make a decision, if I just took like 5 seconds to breathe, it would be a lot better for everyone. But it's just the fact that I get so excited and it's a good thing that I get so excited, but it's just that like I get a little carried away, if you know what I mean. So that's definitely one thing that I'm trying to work on right now, is just trying to breathe and trying to, I think before I do anything, just take 5 seconds to think would help me a lot. One other main thing that Angela and I talked about on our trip was kind of how we see friendships, because everyone has a different definition. And now that I think about it, it's kind of hard to be friends with people because everyone has a different view of friendship. For me, and I don't think this is the perfect view at all. I will preface with that. I think my view is also somewhat problematic at times, so just take that with a grain of salt. But I remember a couple years ago, one of my friends from before asked me, like, do you see your friends as like disposable, or like you're able to get rid of them? And at the time I was like, what the heck? No, that's a terrible question to ask. Like, you can't say that about other people. But now that I've gotten a little older, and I think I've been a little more introspective and just a little more clear with how I want to value my time in terms of like how I spend my time and energy with my friends, I don't think people are disposable, but I definitely don't think it's a no to that question. Currently, how I view friendships is like a constant cost benefit analysis. I'm very good at pros and cons lists, as you might know. So I make those a lot in terms of decisions I want to make, and also people and relationships, which might not be the best thing, but realistically, you want friends that will give you benefits, and ideally, they wouldn't come at any cost, but obviously people are not going to do things for free. So how I see it is, if your friend is not, actually, let me see if I can explain this in a better way. So let's say at time 0, you are in a friendship and your friend is giving you 3 units of benefit and it costs you 3 units of cost. This is a super analytical way of talking about it. I don't think I fully agree with the numbers way, but this is kind of like the best way that I can analyze it. And you continue along your friendship, and let's say we get to time 1. And now your friend is giving you 4 units of benefit, so more benefit. I don't know what they're doing, but they're just making your life a little better. And so obviously, if they're giving you more benefit, you want to invest more into the friendship, because you see them as someone you care about, they care about you. So now your cost increases to 4. But it's okay, because they're giving you more benefit, so you're willing to put in the time. But let's say your friend starts costing you more, and at time 2, now we're at T2, the cost of your friendship is starting to go up to maybe 6 units of cost, whether it's because they're costing you your physical health or your mental health and your emotional health. It maybe is very emotionally exhausting to hang out with them. Your cost is going up to 6, but they're still only providing you 4 units of benefit. Then you're like, wait, this is not good. I'm giving too much, because now they're not giving the same benefit. It's actually very exhausting to hang out with them and like spend time with them. So naturally, you would kind of reduce your costs. So maybe you'll start putting a little less effort into the friendship. Maybe you'll draw back just a little bit and spend more time by yourself. So now your cost goes back to 4 to match the benefit. That's kind of how I see friendships right now. Obviously not in such like I don't measure so specifically, but it's like, if you are costing me a lot of my mental health and emotional health, and I get very frustrated with you, or I'm not having the best time, I'm not going to spend as much time and energy with you, obviously. Does that make sense? I think that's kind of how I see it right now. And it's kind of always just like an evaluation. And yeah, sometimes then if friends you don't want to put in the cost anymore, or they're not providing the benefit anymore, you just kind of drift naturally away. And I think that's just what normal friendships entail. So that's kind of how I see friendships. I don't know if that's the right way. I think I've made an episode about friendships before, but I don't remember what I said. Honestly, it was so long ago. But yeah, that's kind of how I see friendships right now. So I kind of always am thinking about my friends and what I'm doing for them, what they're doing for me. And it's not really like a tallying and keeping score. It's more so like, for me, it's always been, how do I feel when I hang out with you? Because with friends in the past, I have always, like, there are some friends where I hung out with them and then I'd come back home and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I cannot go out for the rest of the night or for the next 2 days. And also, I just wasn't feeling like my most comfortable self with them. So obviously, in a friendship like that, when the cost is super high, you're costing me my social battery, you're costing me my like identity. I don't feel like I can be myself around you. I'm not going to choose to hang out with you any longer. That's how I feel with friendships now. And I think I've done a really good job with actually spending time with people that I care about, and I feel like I don't have to necessarily keep track anymore. I just know that if I hang out with them, I'll feel okay after. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I don't know if that's the right way to feel. I don't know if there is a right way to feel, but I do know that other people, when Angela and I talked about this, like, she has a different view and I have my own view. So that's kind of that. So on the second day of our trip, we had a lot of discussion at night, just talking about our relationships, friendships, ourselves, just so many things. And it is so special if you have someone that you can talk about this stuff with, I think. And honestly, when you get to know someone enough, or like just give someone enough time and energy, they will open up to you. I feel like recently I've had a lot of opportunities to make new friends, but I haven't really given them the time of day, which is not good. So I haven't really been able to get close with them. But I feel like if you give someone enough time and energy and you show that you're open to being vulnerable and you yourself are vulnerable, it can, like, people are always willing to talk. That's what I've noticed. It's very rare that people are not willing to talk about themselves, especially. Everyone loves talking about themselves. So yeah, I just had a lot of introspective discussions on my trip. But on the third day of our trip was so super fun. We had a lot of time to kill because we had to check out by our Airbnb by 11, and then our ferry was at 7 originally. So we were like, oh shoot, we have like 8 hours, So what we did is we actually drove past Jordan River, a little further away from Victoria, up to Port Renfrew. It's just like one of the other nearest cities. It is so beautiful there. And then along the way back to Victoria, what we did was we just beach hopped along the highway. So every time we saw that there was a beach on the highway, we just stopped and we just went. We went to 2, I think, because we started to run out of time. We went to Sombrio Beach, which was so busy, actually. There were so many surfers there. I guess it's like a really good surfing spot. There were so many people there, and we were just watching the surfers for the longest time and just enjoying and sitting there. And then we also went to Sandcut Beach, which was a lot less busy, and there was like a special waterfall and swing there that we had to find, and we found it, and it was just so much fun. We were just taking pictures and stuff like that, so that was super fun. And then we just drove back to Victoria. We ended up coming back at like 4, I think, and then we went to grab some early dinner at La Taqueria, getting Mexican food. I love tacos. I was craving them so much, I didn't realize. So good. And then we actually ended up catching an earlier ferry at 6, and then we came home. And it was honestly just so chill. I really liked that the trip was very, very, it was planned, a lot of it, but it was like planned to be chill. Because I have a really hard time relaxing and doing nothing. I feel very guilty. I think I've gotten a lot better for sure, but I feel very guilty sometimes when I'm resting. So it was really nice to do nothing, and I felt like my mind just thought so much. I don't think I've ever thought as much as I did on that trip. And yeah, it was just a good time. Also got to spend time with Angela in like a different way that I thought was really interesting. What I learned or thought about yesterday was when you put people in novel situations, you get another side of them exposed. And obviously that sounds very simple, but it's like, you know, if you're always spending time with your friends at school, you only see them in the school environment. You only really see one side of them. But because I was on a trip with Angela, and I've been like camping with her before with school and stuff, but because it was only the two of us and we were just in the middle of nowhere, like I kind of got a different side of her that I've never really seen before. And same with yesterday when my boyfriend met my friends, because my boyfriend was there, the dynamic of our friend group kind of changed, and I got to see a whole different side of everyone as well. I thought I knew my friends so well, but I really got to learn about them in a different way, and they kind of showed themselves in a different way, which I thought was so interesting. So I'm really excited to go to Washington because I feel like I will learn about myself in a different way, because I will put myself in a new situation that I've never been in before. So very excited about that. But yeah, honestly, it was a really good trip. I'm very excited for more travel. I'm definitely tired. Like, it's been very busy because of it, but honestly, it is so worth it. I've been having so much fun, and it's just been so enjoyable. Anyways, I think I'm going to end the podcast here. I know it's a little bit short this week, but honestly, guys, I'm so busy and everything. I'm so sorry. I'm also really hungry right now. But you can check out all the podcast social media and my own social media in the show notes or in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it was kind of like all over the place because my trip wasn't very detailed or long. Really, we didn't do that much, but I just learned a lot and I thought a lot. And I think that's like one of the most valuable things you could do nowadays. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next week for my Washington recap. And I will see you soon. Bye.
And I was like, yo.